Hello there my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name's Antoinette. As always, if you like what you see, please do hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up and answer in comments anything that you've seen that you've liked, any cards that you found that have stalked you based on what I'm going to be discussing today. So this is meant to be day 5 on the Ethony's, my VR to Ethony, with her 31 days of tarot challenge for 2021. However, I'm doing it in weeks. I did get myself a little bit mixed up, so I think I've posted week 7 and week 5 happens. So this is week 5, which I'll probably put out for week 6. Who knows? We'll see how I'm running with my schedule. So this one was, let me just check my notes. The card that stalked me in 2020. Now I had a couple of cards when I looked back, so I pulled out the 4 most common ones and written down the reasons that I felt that they were challenging me and why they were stalking me and the lessons that I had to learn from them. And if you've had any of these cards and your experiences, please do share what you found that they meant for you and why they were stalking you as well in comments below. So if I start with, I've pulled a couple of cards from different decks just to show the different ways that I see them as well. And also for a bit of excitement, but they're not decks that are anything new to what you've seen. They're ones I've probably already shown in the first 4 videos leading up to this. Anyway, much further ado. So the first one, the big hitter for me, was the King of Swords. So this is the King of Swords from the Tower of the Divine Gateway, or Gateway of the Divine by Ciro Marchetti. So he's a really kind of ethereal angel type character. Almost reminds me of Archangel Michael as well, if any of you are familiar with archangels, with the colour blue in there, a really strong sort of theme. And then this one is King of Swords in a far more grounded format, I suppose. And this is from the Bonestone by Avalon. So this chap I felt was stalking me. For the best part, it was this deck actually, which I was using at the time, and I was at the time I was using lots of kind of spirit guide-esque spreads, learning about my spirit guides and things like that. And this guy kept turning up, and it took a while for the penny to drop that he was probably my spirit guide basically. And he started then showing up in spreads. So when I was doing spreads for other things, he started to show up, and it almost felt like the indicator of, yes, you're in the right direction, you're going the right way, like, you know, pat on the back, keep it up, I'm with you, we're here, you are being guided. So this card used to come up quite a lot. It still does come up a lot in spreads, but not as often as it was, and I felt that's because I learned who this card was indicating, the significance of it in my spreads and why it was happening. So the second card, which seemed to come up a lot, it was another swords card, and that was the 5 of Swords. So this is one of Patrick Valenza's decks, the Trionfi Della Rose Paradoxical. So I'll be doing a walkthrough on this one probably in a minute actually. This is a more Rider-Waite-Smith-esque 5 of Swords. So you can see he's got his 5 of Swords, there's, you know, stuff going on in the background and he's sort of walking away. And then we have the Bonestone, it's kind of grounded. This one's a little bit more vicious looking 5 of Swords. So you can read a bit more into this 5 of Swords than you can maybe from the other 2. This one's a very definite fight happening, very definite fight situation. In fact, there's even blood in this one. If we come back to this one, what you can't quite see is on the sword there is pink drip coming down the sword, so that is indicative of blood as well. So to me, these cards were sorry, I'm just checking my notes, where are we? These were more warnings for me in the way that they were coming through in my spreads, because I am an air sign, so the swords are linked to air signs and how we communicate our words and things. So sometimes I can be a bit too straight with my talking, and they were sort of warning me not to be too straight, to be aware of some of the language that I use, because we all use words differently, and for some they can be triggers. I can't think of a word right now off the top of my head, typical, but some words can be triggers to other people and can cause defensiveness, and then their reaction comes back and it's something you're not expecting, which then can then start to escalate a situation. So it's just being aware of when I'm in a situation, what situation is around me. Am I going to respond to what's going on, or am I just going to remain silent for a bit and watch? And that was more what the cards were for me. Yeah, and I guess just relaxing into situations to get a more grounded lay of the land, rather than just kind of defending people, like making sure I am defending the right person for the right thing. Those sorts of scenarios for me. That was what these cards were indicating for me. 5 is also a great card for wanting to move on and move things forwards, so that didn't surprise me either, because he does show up when I'm in like stuck situations and I want to go forwards. I do get a 5 in there as well. So I just need some tea. It's very cold here, it's -3. So the other card I got a lot of was the 5 of Wands, and I felt these two went kind of hand in hand. So it felt like obstacles and barriers versus like verbal differences with people, and that wasn't just me doing it. It felt like it was coming at me from other places, and the reason it was coming at me was because that was the lesson I had to learn to navigate situations, to hold back and not react in those scenarios with people around me. So that was how I was feeling at the time, and I'm very pleased to say it's changed a lot now too. So I had the 5 of Wands, so there we go with the Trionfi. So that's a very nice straightforward kind of 5. Sorry, I've got hair blowing all over my face, it's tickling me. I have the 5 of Wands from the Bonestones. This one is a little bit more about climbing up, getting to the top, you know, overcoming all the branches in the trees, getting to where you want to be. And then from Ciro's, this one is kind of tree-esque. Okay, so it looks like there's a tree in there. However, I'm not quite sure. In this one, they seem to be sort of beating each other down, or beating at each other, and nobody seems to know why and what's going on and what direction they're supposed to be heading in. So after, you know, sitting with these cards for a while, and multiple times as well at that, I kind of felt that these were about the barriers that were being put in place by sort of the universe, if you want, to test me, to test my own growth, my own resolve. Like it was meant to be like a positive test of resolve, really, rather, you know, did I really want this, or is it just a passing achievement that I'm looking to gain? That was my take on it, given the context of how I was using the cards and the spreads again that I had coming out for them. And they did come up a lot in daily uses as well, so quite often, you know, like a daily pull, tell me the energy for the day. Usually on my work days they came out there as well, so that was just warning me about, you know, how we conduct ourselves in the workplace, and teaching me to, you know, not be so perhaps extrovert in personality in work for the introverts that were around me, because perhaps that was too much, maybe I was too extra at those points, and, you know, encouraging those people to speak and give off what they want to give off, and then working out how to navigate my way around whatever it is that's come out of what's being said. I'm not going to go too much into what I do at work, but it actually made a lot of sense with some of the stuff that was coming through and what was going on for me in that situation. Now, my final card for this was the Queen of Cups. So I've only grabbed 2 again for these court cards. So we have the Bonestone first. So then we have this Queen of Cups, so it's a really great kind of feminine energy. There's a lot of spiritual feeling with the colours in the sky that I pulled from this card. You know, she's got her mermaid's tail, it's got that whole fairy fantasy. We've got some, like, you know, foods for the soul, the heart here going on, like nourishing foods. And then we have the Queen of Cups from Ciro, and sun's just moved, or something's moved, because suddenly I've got a lot of, anyway, so she's got lots of fish and pearls of wisdom, and we've got the water in the background, you know, we've got that kind of floaty feeling going on with her too. There we go. And lots of blue, it's kind of lots of you know, blues that we would link to emotions. Blues here I'd link to maybe my throat chakra. There's different things I pull off the cards for when I see them, like they pull intuitively on different things often. With this one today, that's how it's pulling on me. So that might be that, you know, it's about talking, sharing your feelings, sharing how the things are feeling for me. But my notes at the time that I wrote down for a lot of these, the Queen of Cups was coming through about me learning to touch base with my own intuition. It was about me learning to understand myself better. It meant that it was at the start of kind of doing a lot of what everyone's calling shadow working. So I was just trying to learn more about my inner child, things I'd cut out of my life or wasn't allowing to come to the surface of my life, you know, denying aspects of who I am. And it was about learning, you know, the acceptance, in building the acceptance for that sort of thing. So I did a lot of work on that throughout 2020. And that was what the Queen of Cups was bringing through for me then. Today, however, she's telling me that I need to continue to share my feelings with people and what's going on, and to have those conversations out loud rather than in my head and on paper. And the only other thing I learned from the Queen of Cups was the patience that she has, because she's very patient, very nurturing, very loving lady. And it was, you know, sometimes being that air sign, that fast moving sign, people think I'm impatient, although I think I've been patient. You know, if I've had to wait like a hot 5 seconds, I haven't had an answer, you know, I've kind of moved on, my brain's moved on, I've moved on, and people see that as impatient, whereas I didn't. I see that as giving time. However, I fully understand that most people don't run at the same speed as me, and yes, perhaps I do need to give more than 5 seconds before I make my decisions and move on. And so that was the 4 cards that stalked me the most in 2020. And the reason why it was 4, because they all came out kind of roughly average, even in the numbers. So that's why I've given all of them space today to talk about. What cards stalked you? Please let me know down in comments, or even if you haven't kept a tally of them, what did you feel that showed up the most for you? It'd be lovely to hear what your thoughts are. And have you done one of these VRs to Ethony as well? What did you put out for those? So there's nothing else here that I've got on my notes that I need to comment on about those. So that's everything. I wish you all much love and light. I'll see you on my next 31 days of / weeks of tarot. And I will get to filming some more of my decks to put through in my kind of flip throughs for you all to watch. Okay, take care. Goodbye.